from ABC News. This one flies in the face of David Muir. Muir?
We just can't do it. We've been trying to pronounce this guy's name for
Muir.
So he says Trump is wrong about what's going on in Haiti. I wonder if he knew that at 7 p.m. yesterday, ABC News reported Ohio is sending troopers and $2.5 million to a city that has seen an influx of Haitian migrants. The governor of Ohio will send law enforcement and millions of dollars in healthcare resources to the city of Springfield as it faces a surge in temporary Haitian migrants. Something is going on in this town that warrants a massive police presence and millions of dollars. Now, whether or not Donald Trump is right or not, if someone came to me frantic saying they're eating dogs in Springfield, I'd say, slow down. What are you talking about? If I heard that it wasn't true, I'd say, tell me what you're hearing about what's going on in Springfield. I've heard they're not eating dogs. Is something else happening? What do you uncover? Trump may be memeing this. Conservatives may be memeing the cats and all that stuff. But it sounds like violent gangs are ruling the streets. It literally says thousands of temporary Haitian migrants have landed in the city in recent years, as long-standing unrest in their home country has given way to violent gangs ruling the streets in Haiti. So now they're coming here. Is there reason to believe that perhaps they don't know our laws, our social norms, and it's causing issues? Look, I got to be honest. If I'm out in the middle, let's say me and a Haitian guy fall off a plane. We have no idea where we are. Nothing but trees in every direction. And then I watch him go and grab a goose. I'm going to be like, okay, well, I don't know, right? I don't know where we are. I don't know what the rules are, the norms, or the laws. I'm not going to fault a human being for hunting. The problem is they're brought here. They don't know our laws. They break the laws. There's numerous reports of ducks and geese going missing and being hunted, being eaten, and that's illegal. And so these people are coming here thinking they're doing something normal, but they're not allowed to do. Police and money are being sent in, and the corporate press is going, fake news is not happening. You're wrong.
Yeah, I think it's the same with a lot of the gangs that we see from South America. I did a lot of missionary work in Mexico and in South America. A lot of those countries are completely fallen, and might is right? The police force is corrupt. The military is corrupt. And so whoever has the most guns is the safest. That is kind of the culture of a lot of the countries. And then these folks are brought here by the Biden administration, and they just carry that with them. So you see them taking over hotels, taking over apartment complexes with just arms, because that is their culture. But now we're back to cultural relativism.
Well, and
that is their culture.
We see it in Colorado. We see it in Texas. We see this. I think James O'Keefe put out a report recently that there are at least 400 gang members operating in the United States all across the country. There's a bunch in New York. And there hasn't been any checks on this. And these are people who are able to get in using Biden's refugee program.
Yeah.
Because you apply as a refugee, you come to the United States, you claim that your life is in danger at home. And if you're a violent gang member, you're just going to lie. You come here, you hang out until your refugee case is heard. And as we reported at the Post-Millennial, I think Savannah Hernandez figured this out a couple of years ago under the Biden administration, like after he had said, everybody come on in. And you had Mayorkas saying, we're not saying don't come. We're saying don't come now. And everybody poured across the border. Court dates were being given out 5 years in advance or more. And so a big part of what Kamala Harris is touting as her border security bill is actually getting more judges and more border agents to push more paper to get people processed faster. And we've already seen also that once somebody loses an asylum case, it's not like they're kicked out of the country. They just still hang out for more. No one goes to get them. No. We have, criminals who commit violent crimes, like the guys who attacked the officers in Times Square. And I think they got off, 2 of them got off on $1,000 bond. That's it. They're illegal immigrants. They're being processed for crimes. They're suspects in crimes. They don't have any documentation or reason to be here. Why are they here?
That was like Laken Riley's accused killer. I mean,
and a couple of that guy's relatives are part of this Tren de Aragua gang.
Yeah.
His brother, his cousin, whatever
He
else.
came in under Biden. He was arrested and convicted of crimes, I believe, in multiple states, including New York, ended up in Georgia, and is now on trial. I mean, obviously, he hasn't been tried yet, but it's not looking great. And I just think that this is a problem that we could solve as a country. I mean, if we prioritize the safety of American citizens, we would treat the border like it's an active crisis and secure it in a week.
Obama gave us Mara Salvatrucha, MS-13, right? That was the beginning of enough Americans said, like, why is there a El Salvadorian gang problem in America? How the hell did this happen, right? Well, they were brought here during the Obama administration, and now Biden is giving us this Trinidad gang problem, which is Venezuelan, and the reason why they're here is because we're inviting them in. And so, again, that was an issue that I think Trump hammered a lot last night, and that going back to what you said earlier, Tim, is that if you're just the angry guy, Trump is angry about that, and he should be. Americans should be angry about that. Are they angry enough? I don't know, because this is her responsibility. The border czar should have been the response to every question. Border czar, you're the border czar, you're the border czar, you're the border czar.
I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, I don't know a whole lot about what Project 2025 is. Just seemed like Kamala didn't really care. She seemed like she was just smug and sure of herself. And when you come off that way at a time of crisis for somebody, let me just put it this way. You ever get into an argument with someone and you're in a heated moment where someone made a mistake and they're not engaging with you on the issue. They have their arms crossed and they're going, why are you so mad? Why are you mad? Is something wrong?
It's called having siblings, yeah.
Yeah, and it makes you angrier and angrier. You want to know that they feel your anger and that they're in the same game as you. So it drives people nuts when you get into a fight and they keep acting like I'm unaffected. It's actually a tactic for antagonizing, to, trying to be snooty and what's wrong? You're getting really mad. Why are you so angry? Like when they say the fastest way to make someone angry is say, calm down.
Yeah.
That's effective. I hate that.
Yep, exactly. It pisses people off because they'll be like, why are you saying that? I'm not angry. And they'll be like, calm down, calm. That's what Kamala was doing.
Or even more, it's like you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Trump definitely has his anger capitalized in the fact that he sees America in crisis. I think a lot of Americans see America in crisis, economic crime. Even David Muir tried to chime in, well, the FBI does say that crime is statistically down. No American believes that. No American believes crime is down.
Right. That was one of his best moments when he was like, if you go to that study, a bunch of cities that have major crime problems just didn't report their numbers because that's how the FBI rolls. And so you cannot treat that like it's accurate because we can't have cities that everyone knows have crime problems just left off the list. And then you get these results that are like, seems like it's okay.
Yeah. So I think Trump definitely capitalized on the anger that a lot of Americans feel in crisis moment. The greatest crisis of all, the existential crisis that even Joe Biden said is the number one threat to our military, the number one threat, it is the number one issue, is of course climate change, and it got the closing minute. And just to talk about that, because obviously this is my wheelhouse, Kamala Harris and this campaign has ended forever this idea that climate change is an existential threat, because existential threats do not stop becoming existential when they poll poorly. Right. And so I am sure if you went back to the 1944 debates, FDR was talking about Nazi Germany. Right. Reagan and Carter talked about the Soviet threat. Right. Because they were existential. They talked about nuclear threat because it's existential. We were told for years the number one threat facing this nation is climate change. And even Kamala was like, oh, yeah, 30 seconds. Big threat. We spent $1 trillion. So climate change is dead, if it even exists. The existentiality of climate change is over, and the Democrat Party killed it.
Well,
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And to stress your point, it wasn't even a topic of debate.
Nope.
It was a blip on the radar. The bigger issue was democracy. They didn't care about climate change.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is if you remember back during the 2020 election season after Kamala Harris was selected as the vice president, she and Joe Biden had sort of this campaign platform of 4 big existential crises that they were going to...
Good memory.
Yeah, that they were going to use to essentially coerce the American people into doing things. Climate, racism, the economy, and COVID. That's what they were. They screwed up COVID. They really screwed up on race. I mean, they made things so much worse between people. The economy, they tanked. And climate, as you just said, Kamala Harris basically debunked the whole climate change thing, because for her in that debate, her whole thing when she was asked about climate change as an existential threat, she started talking about home insurance and creating jobs in the climate change industry. For them, it's an industry. And that's why they had the, Infrastructure Reduction Act, which Joe Biden admitted should have been called, massive climate spending bill. They talk about, EV cars and charging stations. And she said, we have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I've been vice president. We've invested in clean energy to the point that opening up factories around the world. So she's talking about it as though it's an industry ripe for monetization, not an existential threat.
Yeah.
And even Greta Thunberg has changed her whole tune.
Now she just hates Jews.
Now she just hates Jews and wanders around in a keffiyeh, and she doesn't even notice about the climate anymore. She's probably just going to take one of Taylor Swift's private jets to the next climate or Palestinian rally thing. She doesn't even care about. She doesn't even care about climate anymore.
If you go back,
she ruined her whole education for no reason.
she has no education for no reason. If you go back 5 years, and it's hard to remember, like pre-COVID, right? Pre-George Floyd, pre-Russia invasion, pre-October 7th, pre-January 6th. 2019, when the world was relatively calm and peaceful and Trump was inevitably going to win, the economy was great, nothing else was really happening, CNN did a 7-hour town hall on climate change. And every candidate, that's back when Amy Klobuchar was running, right? Cory Booker was running.
They had 20 people. They had 20 Democrats were trying to get that spot.
And the whole thing was about climate change because they had to create an existential crisis. They had to find that thing that is so ethereal and intellectual that someone like Trump is just too brash to understand, right? We understand the threat because we're the smart, intellectual Democrats. 7 hours to climate change, and now it was, we have 30 seconds left, and before we go, you want to say something about the climate?
He also Trump had a great response to that, which was, have you seen a solar field? Where they, you destroy all of this land for these solar panels. And he talks about, wind turbines, which I don't know what the stats are on cancer caused by wind turbines or if that's even a thing. I have no idea. But I do know that that putting wind turbines in communities really screws things up. And also the wind turbines themselves, when they break down, they're not recyclable.
No.
So they just land, these giant, massive things, just land in landfills. And you can't do anything with them. And you just have to create more to replace those ones. And the way that they use them when they put them out in the ocean or whatever, they get corroded really quickly. So it creates more problems than it actually solves. Meanwhile, if the climate activists were actually interested in saving the planet, they would go for the most clean and, safe energy, which is nuclear power.
Right.
I just like to
climate
point.
when convenient.
I want to point this out real quick because I recently was in Newport, Rhode Island, and it is a Democrat stronghold. Democrat, all across the board. And you guys have been there?
Yeah.
I did the mansion
When I was a
tour.
Did you
kid,
see
I
this?
did the mansion
Well,
tour too when
recently.
I was a kid. It's gorgeous.
Recently,
Not
though.
recently.
Good life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see all the signs everywhere that say to keep it wild, keep the wind out?
Oh.
And it's pictures of wind turbines with circles and lines through them.
They don't want to screw up their view. Same thing happens in Jersey, off the Jersey Shore. They don't want that stuff.
Nobody wants to see. I don't mind wind turbines. I don't know, but people don't like them.
Well, they have a cost that when initially people were promoting things like solar and wind, they're like, it's fine, you just plant it, everything's okay. But it's always climate when convenient. It's always environment when convenient. I remember when Doug Ducey, the former governor of Arizona, was putting up shipping containers to fill in gaps in the border wall. He got sued by the federal government for a bunch of stuff, but eventually they settled on, well, you're on federal land, and also these are hurting the migration patterns of some sort of, I don't know, some sort of creature.
Illegals.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. No. This time it was an animal and not humans running across the border. Have you seen a solar field? Do you think a deer is going to cross that? Do you think anything is going to survive there? Like, to what end are you saying you're preserving the environment?
Well, you're preserving the environment, but not for people is the thing. You're not actually
For the companies that are benefiting.
Yes,
off it.
And she admitted she admitted they have spent $1 trillion on the climate agenda. And how are we doing? right? Have you seen a study that our emissions are down, that our air is cleaner, that our water is cleaner? We know one thing for certain: our utility bills are 30% higher. Our gas is higher. Right?
Water is expensive too.
So $1 trillion water at the movie theater is very expensive. So the $1 trillion went somewhere, and I hear defensive of my industry all the time: big oil, big oil, big oil. Big green is a really real thing. If you have $1 trillion to spend, someone is getting very, very rich, and those people are invested in electing Harris.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.